So today I want to talk about the best day I had as a nurse. So in nursing, we deal with a lot of difficult things, and eventually you get burnt out. You get a little bit jaded, and so it was a few years ago. I would say at least 10 years ago, and I had this patient. He had issues with his prostate, and he was admitted because he was getting blood in his urine, and it was causing him, when he peed, to have it clot. And he required a catheter, a Foley catheter. And then even with that, his urine was still clotting, so he had to be manually irrigated to keep the flow going. So he wasn't going anywhere for a few days. And I came in and I worked the night shift, so I was passing his meds. And afterwards, I was about to leave, and he said, "Dan, can we speak for a few minutes?" And I said, "Sure." So I sat down, and he said, where I worked at the time was in a town called Waterville, Maine. And he goes to me, he says, "My wife is dying of cancer, and she is actually admitted too in the hospital. However, she is at the Bangor hospital." Well, Bangor to Waterville is about 50 to 60 miles apart. Well, this was a Friday night, and he said, "Is there any way that you can get her here so I can be with my wife before she dies?" And I took a deep breath and I said, "It's going to be really hard on the weekend to pull this off, but I will pass it on to the day charge nurse, and maybe she can pull something that she can pull it off." And I took care of him that night, and I went home, and I came home and talked to my wife, Lori, and I told her the situation and how sad it was and how it really bothered me and how it was going to be so difficult to pull that off. You have limited resources on the weekend. The social workers aren't usually there, and just the issue of getting transportation. She would need an ambulance. Well, the ambulances are typically pretty busy on the weekend. So I thought, it's so slim that this will happen. So I went to bed, and I got up, and I was still fretting on that situation, how this poor man, he may be in the hospital and not be able to say goodbye to his wife. So I go back in that night, so now it's Saturday night, and I walk in, and the charge nurse goes, "Dan," and she's smiling. She says, "Follow me." So we walk down the hall, and we go into that gentleman's room, and laying beside him in another hospital bed is his wife. Somehow they pulled it off, and he got to be with his wife those last few nights, those last important, special nights before she passed. And that meant so much to me, and that reminded me what it's all about to be a nurse. And I am so grateful, even though there's so many difficult days at my job. I'm so grateful to take care of people, and I'm so grateful. Thank you.